Welcome to Badass in Action, the show that ignites your inner fire and propels you toward your epic goals. I'm Melanie Browning, delivering raw interviews, game-changing stories, and mindset hacks to keep you moving. Get ready, it's go time. Hello there and welcome to Badass in Action. I'm your host, Melanie Browning, and I have Wendy Kleinfeldt here.
Yes.
And we'll be getting into that interview. I just want to take a quick moment to thank our sponsor, Spotlight Mindset Training Group, where your spotlight awaits. All right, let's go ahead and get into this interview. Welcome, Wendy.
Thank you, Melanie. It's so good to be here today with you.
It's great to have you on. I met you at I believe it was a Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, from Gilbert.
Meeting. You were there with your business, Purple Tiger Fitness.
Yes.
And what I just instantly gravitated toward your energy because number one, you could just tell you're confident, you're fit, you're stylish, you're all of the wonderful, amazing things. And I loved listening to you talk and you seemed very in tune with other people and listening to what it is they're into. And so just that energy, that networking energy really came across. And I felt bad because I wanted to start this podcast for a while now. And, you've always been there in my mind. So it feels kind of weird, reaching out so, further on. But thank you for being here.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad it all came back in full circle because I also remember you were sitting next to me. And and I've been following your journey a little bit. So I'm so glad we were able to reconnect.
That's awesome. I'd love to jump in. This podcast is about the people that I have on, their amazing journey, and also to share some of your stories to help encourage people to jump into their entrepreneurial journey. Can you kind of go back and take us into, when did you become an entrepreneur and what did that look like for you?
Yeah, so I'll take us back just a tiny little bit further. So I was in a family of entrepreneurs, and my family and I, we moved to Hungary from China when I was very young. And my parents did what a lot of other Chinese community, folks in the Chinese community did, which was import-export. And so they did not have an entrepreneurial background, but moving from China to Hungary it was not like they could join the workforce. So they joined the entrepreneurship route, which at the time they didn't have a fancy name like entrepreneur. It was just being scrappy, do business, make money. And I saw the ups and downs of their journey, and I actually swore to myself I was never going to do that. And I think it was just I didn't want to be in the industry that they were in. I didn't want to be in the import industry. I didn't want to be in the retail industry. But there was always this fire, this burning desire within me to do something that was my own, to do something that wasn't molded or structured by a corporate, by a corporate culture or something. And so throughout my corporate career, there were many moments when I said, you know what, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should get out. And I thought about trying to do a side hustle, and I even got my coaching certificate so I could start a side hustle as a coach. But then I always stopped. I always stopped myself. And it was just really because of fear. And that's the most common thing that stops people doing anything. And it's a thing I hear from current people in corporate space who are thinking about branching out, but then they fear. They fear the lack of stability. So it took me a while, but 2 years, essentially it was only about 2 years ago that I said, you know what, enough is enough. I need to stop dreaming and need to start executing on this. And someone could say, why now? Why not later? My daughter was 2 years old at the time, and people thought that was crazy. You're going to start a business when your daughter's 2? That's a lot of risk. That's a lot of work. And it's well, when is a better time?
Yeah.
And for better or for worse, there was a lot of stuff happening in the corporate world at the time where I had worked that kind of made me think, is this the path that I want to continue? I was so sick of the corporate space, and I thought, if I was going to jump ship to another company, I knew I was going to deal with the same stresses, same conflicts, everything it's the same. Can I swear on this podcast? It's a same ship, different label, different company. And I thought, you know what? If I'm going to do that, why don't I just take a chance on myself this time? And so I just did it. I mean, there was some stuff working in the background, but basically I quit. And then the next day it was all right, here we go.
No, I'm super curious. Like when you say the fear, I know, when we bring that up, a lot of us can go, oh yeah, I would be afraid of this. What were your specific fears? If you don't, I mean, you don't have to go in depth, but what were the top fears for you? And I know, like, it sounds like you kind of got to a point of the pain was just too much, but was it that, or did you also do some work to help move that fear factor in there? Like, how did you get around that?
Yeah, I mean, at the time, I think there was a lot of internal work I did. I did have a coach at the time. Ironically, it was a coach provided by the company I was working with. and during our, sessions, I would talk about my dreams of becoming independent, of working for myself, by myself. And she really pushed me to look into pushing past my fears. And I would say my fears are actually probably the most common fear I hear, which is I'm just going to end up losing all my money. I'm going to end up living in a van under the bridge.
And how realistic would that be? Like,
right.
Really,
like we go
there.
Like we go 1,000 steps into the future, into the worst case scenario. And that's basically was the fear, was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to not have money. Mm-hmm. That's all really came down to, was that it was a fear of failure and what failure meant. People were going to laugh at me, blah, 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 and all those things. But ultimately, it was just like, oh my gosh, I'm afraid of losing stability. Once you are addicted to getting a paycheck every 2 weeks, getting all your stuff paid for by corporate daddy, it's really hard to leave that. They call it golden handcuffs for a reason.
It's, it's so many different levels. It's the pay, it's the, the consistency with that, but it's the comfort, where, most of the time where you're going to sit, when you're going to make your coffee, who's going to be there, so many of the things there. Yeah. That it's so comfortable.
Yeah. And the predictability, like you said, even the pain within the corporate space was predictable. Like I knew exactly when the pain was going to come about. I knew exactly if I was going to do this, this is going to happen, and knowing how to mitigate that, whatever. So everything was pretty much, for the most part, pretty predictable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it kind of brings to mind, that saying, like, if everyone took their problems, threw it on the table, and you said to grab one, you'd probably take all your problems back. And, there's many levels of that, like being grateful for what you have. But it's also like, but I know, like you said, I know these pains. I can deal with these pains because I know what they are. And so, So stepping forward, so you had a coach.
Yeah.
You're doing the work. In that time frame, what kind of work was working for you? Like, did you find like a meditation? Like, what were the things that
that's
that
interesting.
You can kind of, at that time frame? Because I know it can shift through different phases.
Oh, absolutely. And entrepreneurship's all about shape-shifting throughout, right? You know this.
Absolutely.
I think part of it was just a long time coming. It's to the point where I look back and I'm like, I don't even recognize the self that I was prior to entrepreneurship. I was just a very different person. It's just that I was holding on to this dream for such a long time that now if I had a dream, I'd be like, yeah, just go for it. And at the time, it was just, I don't know. And I also got to the point of my career where, for better or for worse, I had capped myself in the market. I was making a lot of money, and I knew that if I were to go back to the corporate space, it'd be really hard to re-enter into the same type of compensation package. Again, very, corporate-y jargon. Mm-hmm. But that's just also reality. The higher you climb, the harder the fall is at least that's the myth that's in your head, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think part of it was just it was a long time coming of doing a lot of self-reflection, really going through this like identity shift. It was around the time too that I discovered fitness and bodybuilding. And I think it was through lifting weights, bodybuilding, that I also realized, maybe there's aspects of my life that I'm holding myself back. And I discovered that at the gym.
I love that.
Yeah.
Tell me, you and I talked a little bit off camera. Tell me about what fitness is and how it relates to mental health and how it works in with your clients and that sort of thing, and what kind of changes can it help someone make?
For me personally, I knew this was going to be my method of how I help women because it worked for me like in a way that I didn't think it would. I think like a lot of women, I grew up with a lot of body dysmorphia, a lot of low self-esteem. I mean, this was a time when we didn't have social media, we didn't have TikTok, we had magazines. and looking through those magazines and just being wowed by just how immaculately beautiful these women were, not understanding that everyone was airbrushed. And just feeling horrible about myself. I mean, there was more than that. I'm just distilling and, kind of putting this into a nutshell of what, some of my childhood experiences. But then growing up, always feeling like I was never enough. And then I became a mom, and then your body just goes through these wild changes, right? And then afterwards, I was trying to get back to a new sense of me, a new sense of identity. And there's something about motherhood that really shifted me, not just in body, but in mind, that if I was going to heal myself physically, I needed to heal myself mentally, that I was no longer the same person. So it was like everything happened kind of at once. And I experienced this thing at the gym where I forgot which move it was. I think it was like a deadlift. And I lifted something that I didn't think I could. And then when I did it, I felt so proud of myself. I love the feeling of being strong. And I thought, if I could do this, what else can I do that I'm telling myself I can't do? And then at that moment, the connection between physical strength and mental strength was just unlocked for me. And the more that I went into bodybuilding and into weightlifting, into fitness, and the more that I worked with leaders, the more I realized we are missing the equation when we only coach people on their mental capacity. And this was also why I wanted to leave the corporate space, because I wanted to do coaching on my own terms. In the corporate space, people come in, or they ask you to come in and they say, help me fix this problem, and you help fix their problem. If you start asking about, hey, what's your mindset? What's your self-talk? How are you taking care of yourself? They're like, whoa, we don't have time for this. I'm not getting paid to talk about these frivolous things. And yet, we know from research that the biggest indicators of performance is how you take care of your body.
Yeah.
It's not how much coaching you get. It's not what MBA you have. It's how you take care of your body. If your body's not there, your mind's not there.
Absolutely. I love hearing this. I'm soaking it all in, because I believe 100% that that's the case. I've had it happen for me time and time again. Like if I'm just feeling, I'm like, I'm just not feeling there. And my standard now, my first go-to is, when's the last time you worked out? When's the last time you went for a walk? What, you've been busy, you've been putting off your normal routine, and that's always like, oh yeah, there it is. And that's where I start. And that's with clients too, when they call up, they're in that frazzly mode. Hold on. When's the last time you worked out? Let's start there.
Are you drinking enough water? I mean, most women I talk to are not eating enough. And then they wonder why. Well, their biggest thing is oftentimes, I want to lose weight. But then they're saying, I'm not sleeping well, I don't have energy. And I'm like, how much are you eating? And oftentimes they'll say 1,200 calories, 1,000 calories. I'm like, you're starving yourself.
Starving.
So is it any wonder that you're going through the day with brain fog, you're relying on energy drinks, and you think starving yourself is the way to lose weight, and then you wonder why everything else is not working?
Yeah.
And it's this big lie. We've been told that the less you eat, the skinnier you'll be, and the skinnier you are, the more accepted and the more beautiful you are. It's just kind of this like really toxic, perpetuating cycle. And what I would love for more of my women and my clients to understand is, food is fuel. And food is also part of how we enjoy life. Like, I come from a culture where food is love language, right? And so for me to reject food, and I've also had to work through my relationship with food, for me to look at food as this bad entity that's going to make me fat or whatever, it's like, that's such an unhealthy way to look at it, no pun intended. But I mean, if there's anything that I want women to really hone in on as they go through their fitness, as they want to be a successful leader or entrepreneur, is you have to take care of yourself. And taking care of yourself sometimes means you need to start eating more.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I love it. With that in mind, where are you at as far as where can people get in touch with you, and like how can they work with you, and what does it look like to work with you if they're like, oh my goodness, I need that, I need all of the elements, I need the mindset, I need the fitness?
Well, so I would say there are about three. I would say they're in a total 3 different ways that I offer my support for women. One is, the one-on-one, which is the high ticket. And the one-on-one is we dive deep in all areas of your life, your leadership, your mindset, and your fitness, right? And when I say fitness, I mean total fitness, right? And my view of fitness isn't that I just want you to get skinny or anything. It's get you to a place where you can just be proud to be in your body. You feel good in it, and that your body's working for you. So my one-on-one is where a lot of clients, if they want some deep transformation, this is where it's at. It's 6 months long. We dive deep. We go deep into areas, and I keep people accountable. I'm a straight shooter. My approach isn't that I try to make you to like me. I mean, it's great if we have a great dynamic, we have good chemistry, but we have an understanding that this is a partnership of respect, and I'm going to tell you the truth, even if you don't like it. I also consider myself a business coach because I have this background in leadership and management. So a lot of entrepreneurs, when they grow in size and they start scaling their team, they think, oh, my skill set in running a business is going to translate into managing a team or running a team and managing people. It's like very different skill sets. You're in a very different territory. So this is where I come in to help entrepreneurs learn how to be actually good people leaders and not just be good entrepreneurs who are pretending to lead people. And then the third way is a really new and exciting launch I had just actually put out there on my 39th birthday last month. And it's called the Feminine Power Collective. And basically this collective is a women's group coaching experience. And within this collective, there's multiple groups and programs that are centered around a thematic focus. So the one that's in launch right now is called Elements of Feminine Power. So we're exploring the foundations and the various elements that make up feminine power. And in the future, multiple themes and focuses will release, things like motherhood and entrepreneurship, dating and romance for women entrepreneurs, fitness, and how to make that work for a busy life. So there's a lot of things that I think that I can really support women in, and the group coaching experience is a way to really capture a broader set of topics for a lot more women. So one-on-one is if they are saying, hey, I need some really specific help, and I'm really wanting to dedicate the next 6 months to turn the ship around. The coaching experience is great for people who, are saying, I want some change, I want some support, but I can't dedicate 6 months, or, this maybe isn't as accessible for me right now, but it is 3 months, and I get to build I get to go through this journey with a cohort of other women. So it is a very different experience. It's not apples to apples, but it is for the type of women who are looking for kind of more the camaraderie approach to transforming their mindset or transforming, their way of leading their business and their life.
That's awesome. Now, are the groups, like you said, you have the theme for each group, is that people can just sign up for those individually that last 3 months long, or is it like a year-long thing and throughout there are different groups?
Yeah. And it's funny you asked that question because on my drive here, I was actually thinking, you know what, at some point I want to bring all those programs together and make it like a 1 year, School of Feminine Power type of thing where they go through, every quarter is a different kind of a theme.
Yeah.
But for now, I just want to kind of get this out there. I want to start building this community. But eventually, I would love to do that.
Because I see, I can see that. People connecting with you and the way that you coach. And, I'm really good at, I need someone to be like, come on, let's go. And give it to me straight, gently and straight, but still firmness,
Yeah.
And so I could see someone that clicks with your style,
Yes.
just, all right, well, what's your next? What do you got next? Because it's, a lot of the mindset, there's a lot of repetition in there too, because
Absolutely.
we need that.
Exactly.
And also these key elements to these themes that you have and the insights that you have. So
exactly.
I like that. That sounds really cool. And group dynamics and the cohorts are so powerful because you have the people, they're following you and they're listening to you and they're getting the knowledge from you and the guidance. But to be able to go through it with someone else and to look next to you, on Zoom, or if it's in, how you're doing it, to just know that there's other people that are I don't know about that either. You know,
Yeah.
it's so powerful. And I love it because oftentimes you'll find the space where, you know, people open up and you realize, man, you're not alone in those thoughts.
Exactly.
And yeah, group cohorts, they're super powerful and very good.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
excited.
You basically, took the thoughts out of my head. I mean, that's basically that's what I want. That's the spirit behind it. Is oftentimes I think women can get so much more just being in the room with other women going through similar experiences, more than just what I can do. Like, I'm there as a facilitator, and yes, I can bring some things to the table. However, the work is what you bring to the table as well, and what you can offer to others around you. For example, one of the requests I have for the women who show up to these groups is, you're not just showing up for yourself, you're showing up for other people. Because just because you're here doesn't mean that you don't already have wisdom or insights that could help somebody else.
Yeah.
Right? We are all coming with different experiences, with different layers, with different levels of maturity in entrepreneurship, and it has nothing to do with age, but it just has to do with life experiences or just what you've seen work. So and because of that, like you said, I think it being very powerful, and that's where I would distinguish between the group and the deep one-on-one. Deep one-on-one, I think, can be for women entrepreneurs who say, I don't think I could necessarily benefit from a group. That's not what I need. I need someone to work with me, like just one-on-one, deep, and lock in step on something that that is very specific, very targeted, and requires much more of an individual attention. In short, I mean, without it's making it sound, I don't want it to sound, people take this the wrong way, but it could be for entrepreneur women who are a little more experienced in their journey, who have maybe gone through some of the things that maybe some of the earlier entrepreneurs have already, that are still experiencing, but they have sort of, quote unquote, graduated from those stages and now are wanting to up level to a different stage.
That's what I love about this journey so much, is it's a continuation.
It is.
It's funny because way back when I first looked at getting coaches and stuff like that, I need a coach to learn this and then I'll be good, and like, it's funny now because it's like, no, it's a it's that support. It's the knowledge, but it's that guidance that really is like to have someone to bounce stuff off of, and for them to reflect back to you like what it is you're actually thinking. Like the words that come out are like, wow, that was in my head.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and you need someone to challenge you.
Yeah.
This is why I'm a huge proponent that if you are out there looking for a coach, you need to make sure that coach is also getting coaching, right? Like
Yes.
I had at one point 2 coaches for 2 very different reasons, and I still have a coach for fitness. But I think it's so important. If you are working with a coach and the last time they got coaching was 10 years ago, no.
Yeah.
Because there's some things you cannot get from a book. There's some things you cannot get just from you having talked to other clients. Like we're still humans. We coaches are still humans. We're still dealing with our crap too on a day-to-day. And we also need someone to keep us accountable. It's kind of like, think of this. Celine Dion still gets vocal coaching. I mean, she's one of the most powerful singers out there. She still gets vocal coaching, not because she's not good, but because she needs to keep sharpening that tool, that instrument she has. And it's the same way with us coaches. Is we need to be sharpening our skill set. And so if you're looking for a coach, regardless of who you decide to work with or in what area you want to work in, make sure your coach is also working on themselves. That's a big indication of how they view growth.
I love that. And what popped into my mind was the whole autopilot thing, with the coach in there. It's like, you can set the autopilot, but even the autopilot's constantly it's more off course than it's on course because it's constant corrections.
Yes.
So if you think, I'm going to get coaching, I'm good, I've set my autopilot. No, you need the coach to keep the autopilot on track.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love that. Where can people go to find out more about you and sign up and say, help me, I need some help?
Well, I'm pretty easy to find. So I'm very active on Instagram, Purple Tiger Fitness. You can find me there. My website's also purpletigerfitness.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn, although I would say a lot of my content, I often do videos where I share little nuggets of wisdom. I post a lot. So Instagram's a great place. Any place where you see a message me button or anything, you can contact me there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wonderful. For one, and I hate to do this to you on a quick takeaway, but for an entrepreneur out there that's looking to level up
Yeah.
and really go for it, what do you think would be the number one piece of advice you'd give to them?
I heard this quote recently, which is that in order to change, you need to embrace chaos. And as entrepreneurs, we're constantly having to shapeshift. We're constantly having to adapt. And if you want to change, if you want to up level, you have to embrace the chaos. The chaos does not stop. You just get better at being okay with it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Powerful. And chaos is definitely easier to manage with some help by your side.
Yes, absolutely.
That's definitely one I've learned. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on here.
Yes.
It has been an absolute pleasure. And this bodybuilding journey that you're on, I'm so excited. And man, just seeing that has got me motivated to hit it harder in the gym and to stay more consistent. So I love everything you do. I love what you post and the messages that you send. So thank you for being
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, and thank you for the kind words. And thank you, everyone, for listening.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you for being here. Make sure you check her out and send her a message. And, just any questions that you have, reach on out. Thank you for joining us here at Badass in Action. And again, thanks again to our sponsor, Spotlight Mindset Training Group. Thanks for tuning in to Badass in Action. Drop a quick note, DM, comment, or review, letting me know the moment that hit hardest or the questions it sparked. Your insights fuel future episodes. Until next time, stay badass, keep moving, and remember, you got this.